Let's start with a prayer, and I've asked Mark James if he would please offer the prayer.
Heavenly Father, thanks that we're able to gather as a safety meeting today, and we'd ask you please lead and guide the discussion and our thoughts so that we can talk about the things that need to be dealt with for the well-being of the campus and everybody who's here. And we plead for your guidance in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. Okay, I have the agenda up on the screen here. Let me just stop the, get rid of that. Okay. All right, we have the agenda up on the screen. The first item, as usual, will be a presentation by David Smith, Director of Environmental Health and Safety from Risk Management. We appreciate David zooming in with us. He can tell us a little, talk to us a little bit about the university's fall protection program. So David, take it away. Do you want to share your screen, David?
I do. Yeah, I got pictures this time.
All right, so let me go down here and I'm going to stop share and I will allow you to share. All right.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's see. See if I can get this right, you guys. Can you see my screen?
Yes, looks good.
Okay. Great. So thanks for inviting me to this, Dave. Appreciate you guys' time. So I just want to share with you a couple of thoughts. I was thinking about one of the best things I think I could share about fall protection that I've seen over the years, and that is what I call fall protection pre-planning. So I want you guys to do me a favor. So everybody, be willing to unmute your mics. I'm going to show you some pictures. We're going to have a little bit of a knowledge skill game, basically. It's like, I want you guys just see what you see and tell me what you see wrong with the pictures. You guys ready? So here we go. Picture number one. Pretty, what's the, do you see anything obvious, right? This is an obvious one. I gave you guys an easy one. So, I mean, this you see a lot in residential construction.
It's the tennis shoes.
That's right, it's the tennis shoes.
Is this what you do, Carrie?
Carrie, I got a good one for you in a minute.
He's trying to put his fall protection up, right? Maybe a little bit. Over there.
Yeah, interesting. A lot of potential right here, right? I mean, he could fall right off the roof. What do you guys think about this one?
Not gonna support him if it falls.
Nice hardware.
I don't think that's rated for 5,000 pounds.
No, no, you guys got them all. Great. Okay, what do you see in this one? What's the potential here?
It's a serious swing.
He's going to smash into the building.
Yeah, I was thinking he's going to hit the wall or go right to that bottom second window, right? Okay. How about this one? Carrie, this is yours.
Well, something about that line's in the wrong position. Too close to the edge.
The Elworth building.
Close to the edge. Yeah. Yeah. Bypassed his warning line, and the warning line's not up to snuff, right? So those are just some examples.
He does have a watcher, though.
Yeah, he does. Watching him fall off the roof. Great one, Carrie. All right, so here's some thoughts. So I wrote down 6 things that I was thinking about when you pre-plan a fall protection in a job that I've seen work really well over the years. And I don't claim to be an expert. In fact, I think Carrie and some of you are going to be more expert than me in all this. But I will say one of the first steps I think to do in fall protection pre-planning is get your team together before a job and just talk about the hazards, right? And this doesn't have to be like an hour or 2 hour long meeting. That's probably overkill, right? It's more of just like a under 5-minute discussion where you guys just talk about, where you get with the team and say, hey, what are the potential fall hazards we're going to deal with as we're working at heights today, right? 2 is assessing your work location. Is it a safe place to work? Can you Are there other hazards in the way that are going to cause a problem to your group when you guys are looking at working at heights? I think the third one is identify fall protection you need. Identify the equipment and make sure you have it. Many times I see where we mess up a lot, and myself included. I've done this stuff myself where I don't have the right tools there, and I just take a chance. I use the wrong ladder, or I use the wrong fall protection equipment, and then because I didn't want to go back to the shop or back to Home Depot to pick up the right stuff, right? Make sure equipment is inspected and obviously individuals trained. We don't want to put a new person on a job with fall protection equipment that doesn't know what they're doing. My favorite one, and it's one of the things I always ask when I used to walk around construction sites in my previous jobs, is do you guys have a rescue plan in place? What are you going to do if that person falls? So I worked a lot in this steel erection and stuff like that, building buildings and towers. And we always want to ask that question: how are you going to get that person down if they fall? And how long are they going to be suspended, right? And then lastly, make sure everybody on your team is committed to the plan and capable of doing the work safely. Like, you want to make sure everybody feels safe. And as supervisors, and all your guys as supervisors under you guys, you want to make sure they are listening to their people when they do have a safety concern, that they feel like they can say something so it doesn't get missed and somebody gets hurt. Here, I have 2 more slides for you. This is one you guys have all seen, right? If you wear a 6-foot lanyard, your deceleration distance is 3.5 feet, worker height is about 6 feet, unless you're shorter or taller, right? And then it usually ends up around 17.5 feet. So if you wear a 6-foot lanyard, you're gonna fall, possibly, even if you're wearing everything right, 17.5 feet from your anchor point. And so I'll share with you a quick story. My last job, well, not my last one, but one for that one, I worked in a mine, and we bought these really expensive trolley systems and for fall protection. And I think we bought 2 of them. It cost about 150 grand. And we thought we were so cool that we spent all this money on buying this fancy equipment. And anyways, a guy was working alone one day, and on top of one of these trucks, he's unloading some stuff. He fell, and the system caught him, which is what it was supposed to do. But nobody else was around, so he hung there like a Christmas ornament for like 5 to 10 minutes. And many of you guys know there are some dangers when you don't rescue somebody quick enough or get them down. We're talking about thrombosis, blood clotting, heart attack, strokes, things like that. Vital organs get affected by the blood being cut off to those different legs and arms and stuff. So something to think about. So the truck driver actually found him, came back, saw him hanging there 5 minutes later, and got a ladder and helped him down. So, think outside the box. Think of better equipment that may be used if you have situations like that where someone has to work alone. This is an example of one that we bought later after that. So just a story. So with that being said, here's my last slide. We talked about pre-planning safety, thinking about it. Here's this shock absorbing lanyard that's 6 feet tall, right? You have that 18.5 foot drop. And then if you use retractable lifelines, and some of you guys are used to using those, they're a little bit more expensive, but man, they catch you within 2 feet, which is what they're required to do by law. And they reduce the fall hazard of the person. The impact is a lot better as well. Some jobs, these don't work as well, but in most cases, they're great. So what would you do? The question is, what would we do if somebody fell to get them off of heights from something like this? So I had a couple examples. If it's really low to the ground, it could be as simple as in your rescue plan, have a ladder nearby, you put up, and you let the person basically unengage the SRL and walk down the ladder, right? Or it could be more extensive, where you need to have aerial lifts or some type of more extensive plan to get somebody down. the question is, do you have that equipment available? Is it nearby? Is it on call? Can you get it there quickly? In like 5 minutes or so is probably a good time frame. Anyways, what I'm trying to share with you guys is just, please take back to your groups if you can share from your knowledge and experience ways for them to pre-plan a little bit, to think about what's the hazard, because we don't want to turn out like this guy who didn't pre-plan his work and got smashed by a log. Right? So that's all I've got for you.
Dave, can you talk about recommendations for lifts? I know that in some of our lifts, for the scissors lift, for example, there's really not a requirement at BYU to wear a harness or a lanyard because they are just vertical lifts. But for the other lifts that articulate out horizontally and up, those of course are required to use fall protection, but a 6-foot lanyard just isn't appropriate for those. You have to have a self-retracting lanyard. Can you give us a little more information about why that is?
From personal preference too, Dave, I really feel, and I've been in aerial lifts a little bit in my life, and my personal opinion is I've always liked those things like the little nano locks or the turbos, whatever you want to call them, the SRLs that you can hook up on the back of your harness. They put
Self-retracting lanyard for you who maybe don't know
yeah.
what SRL.
Yeah, that's what I always like to use. They put a little weight on your back because they're like 5 to 8 pounds when you put them on with your with your harness on the back of your D-ring. But I've always liked them because I always felt like I could move around better with them. And I could also, when there were instances where I'd had to get out of an aerial lift and I'd have to unhook, and I could stay hooked in the machine, and then I could go walk out of the machine onto like a landing, hook onto my next fall protection off a leading edge, and then I could unhook on the other one because buying those SRLs that have a little bit of slack in them, like the 10-foot ones or whatever. So I think they're 6 and 12. I can't remember, but those were I've always liked that just as a preference. There's nothing against using this. I don't think there's anything. I know we've had discussions about it, because there's the potential of somebody falling out of the basket early as they're going up. But I think it goes down to, I think it really comes down to, Dave, is what's the potential? So if we have a discussion and I know I'm going to be working an aerial lift, but only 10 feet high, and I'm wearing that 6-foot lanyard, then, my fall distance is not really going to be there for me. I'm going to fall and hit the ground, even in an aerial lift, right? If I fall outside the basket.
So everybody in aerial lifts, when they're hooked in with fall protection, at some point at the beginning, they're going to be under that 17.5-foot limit. So a 6-foot is going to do them no good until they're above 17.5 feet, which means they have to have an SLR to get up until they get up to 17.5 feet. So why have 2 lanyards? Just start with an SLR. It doesn't make sense to even do a 6-foot lanyard if you are in an aerial lift. So just
and if you're going to leave the basket for some purpose.
Pardon me?
Totally, Dave. And if you're going to leave the basket for some purpose, you may want to have, those dual SRL packs available for those who use aerial lifts, because sometimes you may have to leave an aerial lift and you want to be able to hook up to something and not be stranded with just one nano lock or one SRL so they usually sell them in pairs when you buy them for those harnesses.
Okay, thank you, David. Sure appreciate that. You want to unshare your screen?
Yeah, sorry. I thought you guys liked that picture.
All right. And I will share my screen unless let's see here. Let's get back. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you all see the agenda again? Yeah. Awesome. And I thought that we should talk a little bit about how we're set up in physical facilities for fall protection equipment inspections. We have done an inventory of all our fall protection equipment in all the shops. In fact, I'll show you what that looks like. It's just a spreadsheet. This is sorted by shop. So you can see there are a couple shops at the top, Access Services and Appliance Shop, that they do not have fall protection equipment, but Building Envelopes, of course, has quite a bit, and they're listed individually by the type: harness, lanyard, ropes, rope brakes, for example. And Building Care Revenue does not have them. But you can, as I scroll down, you can see that many of the shops do have fall protection equipment. Now, the only shop that is not on this inventory is the custodial shop. And Leif Smith, who is part of our committee here, in fact, I saw him zoomed in here, he maintains that inventory. We are required by OSHA to do an official inspection of each piece of fall equipment annually. And of course, the user should inspect his equipment before he uses it each time, but there needs to be a recorded inspection by a certified inspector, someone who has had special training in inspecting these. Needs to be recorded annually. And so we have done that. We have there are 4 of us who have been through the training and are certified as inspectors, and we've split the inventory up. And you can see here, in fact, I will show you that the inspectors are Kerry Wilson. He inspects the equipment in his shop, Building Envelopes, and also the moving shop. They're in the same building. And he does that once a year and records it and sends a record of that to me so that I can update the official record. Jeff Heinz has been trained, and he does the inspection for the electric shop and HVAC shop. And then Leif Smith, of course, takes care of all the building care equipment and his own shop, which is the High Works and Tunnel shop. And then I've been trained, and I'll do the inspections for these smaller shops. And it's split up so that each inspector has about the same number of pieces of equipment that he's responsible for inspecting. These inspections take place during fall semester. So we're right in the throes of doing this now. I just thought it would be good for you to be aware of who the inspector is. In fact, I'll send you, with the minutes, I'll send you this list of who the inspectors are so that you can contact them if you have a question about your shop. You won't be surprised when they call you and say, hey, we need to inspect your equipment. All right, let's go back to the agenda here. Oops, that's not the agenda. Okay. The next item on the agenda has to do with Y-Train. Hopefully you've all received an email yesterday from me announcing that Y-Train is going to be moved over to a new platform, a new learning management software this month. November's the big month. And there will be a 5-day blackout period that begins on the 14th, which I believe the 14th is Friday. And so well, just read this statement here. The go live date is November 18th. There will be a blackout period of November 14th through the 17th where neither LMS, old or new, will be available. However, in reality, you may be able to get into the old LMS during that blackout period, and you're welcome to do that if you want, but you just need to know that it will not be recorded. Whatever is completed will not be in the history that's kept. And so if you do that and you want to have it recorded, just shoot me an email and I can record it in the new LMS during that period. And it says certificates will not be transferred, but just the records of what has happened will be transferred. All right, so if you want a certificate of something you've already done, you need to print out the certificate or save it to your desktop before we do the cutover. All right, and I thought I'd just take a minute and show you what the new LMS looks like. Let's go here to, okay, this this is what it looks like. Maybe I can reduce this. Okay, if you can see that. When you log in to Y-Train, this screen will come up and there will be 3 options for you. You can go and see what courses you're enrolled in here in this My Courses section. There will be a catalog section where you can click and see by department what courses are available. And you can go in and you can see any courses from dining services to risk management to ours. Ours have all been uploaded now. They are there in the new system. And then there's a transcript link where you can go in and see your history of what you have done and your scores that you've received on the exams, on the tests. The most important part though is this little button up here, this little magnifying glass. That's how you search for a course. Now, right now in our current Y-Train, we have a catalog that has been created for each shop. That will not be available initially with this new program. I'll be putting those together after we get online, and it will not be called a catalog, it will be called a curriculum. And it will look, I'm going to go into a catalog here. I'm clicking on that and you can see all the catalogs listed here, and I'll go into physical facilities catalog. And you can see when you go into this catalog for the department, it shows all the trainings here. Well, we will create a curriculum that will be a group of trainings that is assigned to your shop. It's the same group of trainings that I keep track of and send you a report of each month. And it will look like one of these icons, but it will just be a whole group of trainings. And you go into the catalog and you'll find it, and it will start with the word curriculum. So you go to the C's, these are in alphabetical, let's see, you can sort these by alphabetical order. And once you sort by, then you just go to the C's and it will say curriculum paint shop, for example. And then you can click on that. You can enroll yourself in the entire curriculum you want, or you can just see what the curriculum, what courses are in the curriculum, and then you can enroll in the courses you want. But that's how that will work. They'll be under the title curriculum followed by your shop name. Any questions about that? Okay, very good. When you go into Y-Train right now, a notice comes up telling anyone who goes into Y-Train that there will be an update coming, and it talks about the blackout period. All right, let's go back to our agenda. There are some trainings in Y-Train that require a practical test after the online training is complete. Truck driving, forklifts, and MEWPs, mobile elevated work platforms. These 3 trainings specifically require, before you're able to use that equipment, required for you to have a practical test. And these tests need to be given by people who have been trained. We call them competent testers, been trained, and they fill out a little form and it's recorded. So I thought it would be good as members of the safety committee for your shop if you knew who those practical testers are. I have a list of the practical testers for these 3 areas, and they are right here. So you can see for the truck practical test, the truck driving, these, what are about a dozen people with their contact information, are available to give these practical tests and sign you off. Forklifts, we have about 8 or 10 people that are competent persons for forklift testing. And then the MEWP, there are about 8 or so of those as well. And so if anyone in your shop comes to you and asks you, how do I get this practical? This is the information you need so that you can tell them who to contact. And these people will be happy to help out. Is there any question about that? I will send this out with the minutes as well.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
For the driver practical, I'm one of them, but there's none of us on here from grounds.
Oh, that's right. That's because I think I need to get a list from you. Do you know who they all are from grounds?
Most of them, yeah.
If you could send me a list of those, I will add those people to this list before I send it out, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I can get that.
Awesome. Great. I had forgotten all about the ones that we have in grounds. I don't track the driver records for grounds like I do for the other shops. And so that probably is why I didn't think about it.
Okay.
All right. Go back to the agenda. Okay. That takes us to the last item on the agenda, which is our concerns log. Things that have come up in past meetings or independent of meetings that we want to track until they're resolved. First one is the installation of the MSDS online website shortcut and QR codes on all the shop computers. There are 17 shops we're doing, and I've met with 14 of you now. So I have 3 more to meet with. I think, Corey, I need to meet with you, and Carrie, I need to meet with you. And there's one other.
Say on all shop computers, you want all of our area computers or just mine?
Is that Corey that's talking?
Yeah.
Well, I thought I'd meet with you first, and then we can decide how to roll it out to your shops. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and I have these QR code, laminated little QR code signs. They're just small that you can put up next to the computers in every workplace that you can use a smartphone to read the QR code and it'll take you right into the website. It's very slick. And I'll bring as many of those as you want. And if any of you who I've already brought them to, if you need any more, just let me know. I have a bunch of them. So that's the report on that item. I will be meeting with the other 3 here hopefully within the next few weeks. Item B, we've sort of already discussed the Y-Train Absorb vehicle ergonomics course. This is something that was brought up in our last meeting, that we might want to have a Y-Train course that talks about vehicle ergonomics. So I passed that request along to Amber McWhirter, who oversees those Y-Train courses, the development, and she said that she could either add a few slides to the existing ergonomics, the general ergonomics course, or we could have our own Y-Train courses just on vehicle ergonomics. Andy, what do you think about that? Do you have a preference?
No, I don't have a preference about that.
Okay. It might be easier to just add a few slides to the general ergonomics course.
Yeah, that might be easier.
Okay, I'm going to recommend to her that we do that, and I'll keep you posted on how that proceeds. Okay, are there any new concerns that anyone would like to add to the concerns log, things to address in our areas? Okay, sounds like everyone's been really safe. Thank you so much. That brings our meeting to an end. We will meet again 1 month on the 8th of December via Zoom again, and sure appreciate you. I'll be sending the meeting minutes out right away for this. Everybody have a great day.